Shalom, shalom. I like to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Amashiach Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Most High in the name of His Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ. This is Akarap Zion. Here in this video, I want to talk about proving we're Israel and going through the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But before I get there, I'd like to start off with Amos chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Alright, and it reads, Here is the word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So kind of self-explanatory right there, but however, when we mess up, the Most High, quick to punish us, because He loves us. Unlike the other nations, when they mess up or when they're sinning, He let their sin pile up and build against them, and then He renders His judgment on them. And I can go to Genesis 18 to further prove that. Genesis 18, verse 20. And it reads, And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will. So their sins was so grievous, it was crying out. So that's why the Most High came and He rendered His judgment. Like I said, He let their sins build up on them. And I can go to another one, which is in Revelation chapter 18, verses 4. Verses 4 and 5. Revelation 18:4. It reads, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. So I said He let their sins pile up and reach all the way up to where He's at, so they can't go no further. And then He renders His judgment on these other nations. Unlike us, when we mess up, when we sin, we get our judgment immediately, or our punishment immediately, So with that being said, let's go into Deuteronomy 28. Let's get into the lesson. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And let's start at verse 15. It reads, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all His commandments and His statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So our forefathers, when they were in the wilderness, came into a covenant with the Most High on keeping His laws, statutes, and His commandments. In the book of Exodus. And He gave us a bunch of blessings and a bunch of curses. And we get the blessings if we keep the commandments and do them, and we get the curses if we don't follow His rules and His commandments. So which of course, we didn't follow them, because we're living in these curses as I speak to this day. So I want to go into a few just to open up a few people's eyes about what's going on. So let's go to one of the ones I can go right now. Let's try Deuteronomy 28. Let's try, I want to say 30. Yeah, let's try Deuteronomy 28 and 30. Alright, and it reads, Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So this is another one. When you look into, go into the history books, you'll clearly see our forefathers. Even when you watch the movies, their wives, slave owners, would just come, take them whenever they felt like taking them, raping the women, doing whatever they want to do with them, despite them knowing she has a husband, don't care. That's one of them. Houses, we built all their houses, and they put us in the back and I don't even know where we're at, honestly. I don't even know if it was even inside like little shacks or just outside sleeping. But we built up their houses. We never lived in none of them. Some people may have worked in them, but they wasn't living in them. We built all their houses. And what's another one? We planted their vineyard, meaning we planted, like the grapes and their trees, their vegetables, everything. We did everything. And we never reaped anything from off of doing it. It was just, we did it and they reaped all the benefits off of it. And that's how it was. And that was a curse, so that's one of the curses. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. There's another one. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. Let me start from the top. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. Meaning like when they came and say the slave owner or Esau, whatever you want to call them, wanted to take your kid and sell your kid, that's what they did. So no matter how much crying, how much weeping, wailing, whatever you did, it didn't matter. They were selling your kid for however much money they wanted to sell them for, and there was nothing you can do about it. You can try to fight, but you will end up getting yourself killed or just getting beaten with, and they still sold your kid, and there was nothing you can do about it. So that was another one of the curses that we seen. Let's go to go into, what's this, 37, verse 37? Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword amongst all the nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee. So we all know us Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, so we're everywhere. And no matter where we go, someone has a derogatory or, a derogatory name for us, or like y'all call spics and niggers and what's another one, porch monkeys and stuff like that. So everyone has a byword and a proverb and a byword for us. Even calling us black, that's another one. So let's keep going for some more real quick. Let's go to 41. Deuteronomy 28:41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for thou shalt go into captivity. My rib showed me a video the other day, well, not a video, a picture actually, of a little boy on the cotton field at 2. It was just shocking to see that. Like, what can a 2-year-old possibly do out there? Having with a bag and everything, so the kid's going to go into captivity. And that's another one also. If they take your kid and they just sell them, and you'll never see this kid again. That's another thing about it. Well, that's another part of the curses. So these curses are real. And let's go to 43. And the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So we know that one very well. We're in the lowest state right now, and they're at a high state, so that kind of speaks for itself. We're in the ghettos, we're in the slums. they're in the suburbs, the big houses, and everything like that. You know, the system is set for them. The system isn't set for us. You know, so let's go to 44, because this is another thing right here. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So, as we clearly see, if you want a loan for a house, you gotta go to your oppressor. You want a loan for a car, you gotta go to your oppressor. You want a bank loan just in general, you gotta go to your oppressor. You know, so he's lending to you, but he ain't asking you for nothing because you got nothing to give him. You know, so like I said, he'll be the head and we'll be the tail. He's at the top, we're at the bottom, scraping and scratching to get up there where he's at. You know, so let's go to 45. He said, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. You know, so from one generation to the next generation, there's a saying the curses is going to continue to be on us and on our seed. And there's no way out of that one. So if you have a kid, your kid's going to fall under them same curses. If your kid has a kid and they're Israelites, they're going to fall under that same curses. You know, that's what that's saying. All right. Let's go to 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, and for the abundance of all things. 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send thee in hunger, and in thirst, and nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So, when we're hungry, you know, so you want some food, you go to Burger King, McDonald's, or wherever you may feel you want to go to. That's going to your oppressor in hunger. You're hungry. You don't own Burger King, McDonald's, Walmart, Tops, any of these places that sell food. You don't own any of these things. You know, so you're going to your oppressor in hunger still. And in thirst. When you're thirsty, you turn on that faucet water, you want to drink that. That's still coming from him. Aquafina, Poland Springs, Alkaline. You know, all the water supply is coming from him. You know, so you're still going to your oppressor for when you're thirsty. It's another one. And in nakedness, you want clothing. You know, even with the shirt I have on now, more likely came from my oppressor. You know, what else? A lot of people feel, oh, well, I'm wearing Jordan. Well, Jordan is still owned by Nike, which is owned by a white man. So, still your oppressor. You know, there's no other way around this. You know, you're going to your oppressor in need of all things and of everything. It's part of the curses. Let's see. 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, and from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle fly, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So, as swift as an eagle fly. You know, the nation of a tongue we don't understand. We weren't here speaking English. Well, we weren't speaking English before we came here. We were speaking Hebrew. Let's say, for instance, America, for instance, they have the eagle. France have the eagle. What was another one? Rome has an eagle, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so these places, what did it say? I will bring a nation against thee from far, from one end of the earth, as swift as an eagle fly, a nation whose tongue we didn't understand. We didn't understand none of these languages that they were speaking. And that eagle also can represent those nations also, because most of these nations are represented by animals, and the eagle is the top predator in the sky also, you know. So what's another one? So the 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard a person of old, nor show favor in the young. No, they don't care how old you are. You know, you're going to go out there, you're going to go to work, you're going to get beat. You don't care how young you are. Like I said, I seen a 2-year-old out there. Either you're going to do it or you're going to get beat or you're going to get put to death. That's just how it was. There's no other way around it. You know, so let's go to, so let's get into Deuteronomy 28 and 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So a lot of us experience this one right here also. For instance, let's say, you know, you're in black on black crime, for instance, if you want to pull that one up, which you can, you know, we out here killing one another at a rapid rate, you know, just don't care about it. You know, yeah, people are kind of out here just hating one another for no reason, or just disliking them, and don't even have a reason why they dislike them. They just don't like them, you know. Also said that he'd be evil towards the bosoms of his wife. You know what I mean? Like, he don't care for his wife. He don't care about her. There's no love for her, you know, and he was also going to leave his children. A lot of us deal with that, you know. I can say that I deal with that, you know. My dad wasn't there, and I was a little upset about it, but not that much. But once I came into the truth, and I understand that it's part of the curses, like, you can't even be mad at him. It's part of the curse, and it was going to happen, you know. So let's go to let's say 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set her soul on the foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil towards her husband and her bosom, and towards her son and towards her daughter. You know, so most people see this go on also. You know, women, you know, when they're with their spouse, you know, women out here cheating, they're loose, no respect for their husband, or should I say for their for their husband, for their man, the person they're with, you know. So it's part of the curses also. Let's jump down to 64. I can keep going more, but for the sake of time, Deuteronomy 64. Let's go to, let's go on that one. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth unto another, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. You know, so you know, a lot of people like to say the wood and stone can represent Christianity and what is it, Islam, or the Muslim faith. You know, so you know, a lot of people cleave onto that wooden Christian cross. A lot of them pray to the cross. They hold on to the cross as if the cross is sacred or going to save them or something, you know. So I can see that one right there. Even with the image of stone, you know, I think they travel to Mecca, if I'm not mistaken, or wherever they travel to, and they're praying down, worshiping, kissing on this stone, you know. And a lot of our people is real heavy in the Muslim faith, you know, so, and in Christianity also, you know, so they're in both of them, you know. So they need to get out of those things and come back to these law, statutes, and commandments, you know, the Most High, come back to our identity, you know, so we can get about this place also. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:65. And among these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall thy sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. You know, meaning like it was on them slave plantations, man, we outnumbered Esau probably 20-1, maybe 10-1 or 20-1. All I know, it was a bunch of us and probably like 2 or 3 of them, you know. So, and like you said, you'll have failing of heart. Hold on, make sure I don't mess it up. They'll have a trembling of heart, and swelling of eyes, and sorrow of mind, meaning a trembling of heart, meaning you're just there that scared to even make a move or say anything, or even want to make an attempt to cross master, or master as they call it. You know, swelling eyes, meaning like just terrified of them, you know, or they hang their head down and they just have just no backbone, no heart, you know, and a sorrow mind, you know, just fear, you know. So part of the curses, man. And you can still kind of say that to this day, you know. Some people be at the job with their bosses, you know, and they act like they're scared to say something to their boss, you know. That's a felon heart and felon eyes, you know. They just go by and just do whatever the heck you say do, even when you know it's wrong, you know. So we're still actually going through that right now. I know a few people probably are, you know, or can see it, you know. Go to 67. And in the morning thou shalt say, would God it were evening, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, so like it, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. You know, it's just I'm pretty sure y'all done walked across or heard people playing and walking. Oh man, I wish it was evening time, or oh man, it's night. I wish can't wait till morning come. You know, just welling and just irritation, I guess you can call it. You know, I know a lot of people who do that a lot. You know, can't wait for the morning, can't wait for the evening, and this is going throughout all 7 days of the week. All right, let's go down to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 68, the last verse. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now, we know when we left out of Egypt, we walked out of Egypt. You know, so you can see this ain't that same Egypt. And he said, by way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you should be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. You know, so now when we come into this Egypt here, like Egypt means bondage in the Bible. It's just the house of bondage. You know, so if so like I said, I'll bring you back into Egypt again on ships, you know. So when we came over here into these Americas, you know, and they teach you this in school or wherever movie you want to watch, it's always you coming off of a boat. You know, they want to say it was a slave boat. It wasn't a slave boat. It was a cargo ship. You know, so I mean, they had us all packed and bunched all up down at the bottom like we were just cargo. You know, and as I was told, you know, it was a month's journey, like multiple amounts of months on the water. You know, so if anyone had to pee, then they're just peeing, which means if everyone on top of one another and stacked all up. You know, so I mean, when that person pee, they're peeing on the next person. When that person's duking, they're duking on the next person. And I mean, a woman is menstruating on whoever she's menstruating on, you know, having her issues. You know, so people throwing up, then the person below them, so like it is getting thrown up on. You know, so we were just packed into this thing just like sardines, you know, so very horrible. But even when you look at the back of your dollar bill, you're going to see a pyramid of Egypt. You know, so it's still a sign of being in Egypt. You know, Egypt means bondage. When we came to America, we're in bondage. A lot of people may think we're not in bondage, but if you go through these curses, I guarantee you may see a lot of them won't link up to you. We're still in bondage. This is not our land. So, of course, we're in captivity. You know, so then it said, thou shalt see it no more again, and thou you should be sold unto your enemies. When we came off these boats, we were sold to our enemies. These not our last names, you know, so let's, for instance, you came off the boat, you know, and they take you to this auction block, and that person have a last name of Johnson, you know, so you belong to the Mr. Johnson's family because Mr. Johnson just bought you for, let's say, $20. Then, you know, then you got people go by the name of Adams, you know, so, I mean, the Adams family just bought you, maybe they bought you for $50, you know, so, you know, these aren't your names, you know, so these are the curses, you know, if we keep them, we can go back, you know, being God's most precious people. Well, we still are, but we be on top of everyone if we keep these commandments. If you read Deuteronomy 28 from the top, you'll see it. So with that, I like to say, I like to give all praises. Call all Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.